7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the John DeVito Show. Glenn, to answer your question, yes, I will be talking today. So I don't know if that's good or bad. Maybe you'd prefer a music show, but I am talking today. So to all of you that don't want to hear me talk today, tough shit. That's the way we're going. So hopefully everyone's doing well. It is Saturday at 11:09 a.m. Eastern time here in the beautiful city of Boston. And yes, again, today I'm freezing my bags off here in Boston. I woke up this morning. It was 1 degree with a wind chill of like minus 20. I think we're up to like 8 degrees now. So it's getting warm. You know, I may have to take off the coat and maybe, I don't know, just kind of go outside in shorts at this point. But anyway, so hopefully everyone's doing well. You know, beautiful Saturday here in Massachusetts. We're almost done with the month of January, and I'm always fine with that. Because for me, you know, February is still a shitty month weather-wise, but at least it's shorter, and we're getting a little bit closer to spring and warm weather and all that good stuff. So for the rest of the day today, I have nothing to do, which is amazing. I mean, when you've got 4 kids and all kinds of responsibilities, then generally you don't have too many of these days where you could just kind of sit around and chill out. So today is going to be a chill day, and right now I'm sitting here with my Diet Mountain Dew, doing my show, and I may or may not partake in an edible sometime later on today. So we'll see how that goes, that decision. And the more I think about that, that's going to be probably a yes when it comes to the edible. So I may partake in that later on today at some point. So anyway, you know, chilling here in Massachusetts, not much going on today. This morning I had to bring my 2 boys to baseball bright and early. They practice all throughout the winter. And yes, Diet Mountain Dew is still bad for you. I know. You know, in my house, we've actually cut down quite a bit on drinking soda. We used to drink a lot of soda in this house, and we now do not bring it into the house anymore. So when we go shopping, we don't bring it into the house. The only time I get soda now is if I happen to go into a convenience store and buy a soda, and then you have to pay like $2 for the one soda. So I went from drinking, God knows, probably 10 like Coke Zeros a day to maybe now drinking like 1 soda every couple of days. So I've cut way down. So this is a treat for me where I'm drinking my Diet Dew. But yes, I know it's still bad for you. So, but you know, I don't do many bad things really. You know, I'm one of those people where I'm not really a drinker. You know, I don't drink much at all. Really, for me, it's like a couple of times a year. And I used to drink a lot in my 20s, and I just don't now. I'm not an alcoholic or anything, but I just, you know, made the decision not to drink, and, you know, it is what it is. But, you know, I do partake in my occasional marijuana edible, which I do enjoy very much. And I'll probably be doing that later. And who knows, maybe I'll get stoned and get on the air later on. I did that like a week ago. I called into the Chuck and Billy podcast and I was stoned. So who knows? Who knows what I'm going to do? But today we're going to freestyle a little bit. You know, we probably at some point will talk a little politics. I actually recorded on my Rodecaster here a segment from George Carlin that he recorded a few years ago, talking about the group in America that controls everybody that we are not a part of. It's a hysterical clip. I've got the whole thing on my Rodecaster. It's like 4 minutes long, so I'm going to play that a little bit later in the show. We can talk anything, you know, about anything you guys want to. If you want to talk Super Bowl, we could talk about that a little bit. But I do want to talk about some of the things that are going on in this country right now. And one thing I'm kind of bummed about is I missed the opportunity to invest in GameStop. I wish I had been on that Reddit group a little bit earlier, so I could have known that I could have maybe made some money with GameStop and AMC movie theater. Apparently, there's some type of product that's similar to Bitcoin right now that you can invest in. So who knows? Maybe that's the way I'll go. Maybe make some money, or with my luck, I'll probably end up losing everything I invest. But I'm looking here, and I see right now I've just started the show. I've got 4 people online. 7 people have been in total so far. And for me, when I do a show, if I happen to get 20 people in my live, that's pretty good for one of my lives. I ended up going in last night to the Bards FM show for a little while. He had 1.1 thousand people in his live during it. And, I listened to him, and he is very good. But, man, that is just crazy. I mean, for me, if I get 20, I'm thrilled. And this guy pulls in over 1,000 people in his live. And his shows are good. I don't think they're amazing, but they are pretty good. But that's just kind of kills me that he has that type of popularity on the platform. But really, it's kind of good for everybody because he brings, more people in. So, Eric, how you doing, my friend? How are you today?
I'm doing good. Good morning, everyone. And speaking of Bards FM, I don't know if anybody's aware of him being the fraud that he is.
Yeah, I know there's a lot of talk.
This Scott Kesterton guy, did a few years ago scam a cancer patient out of $12,000, and this cancer patient, she died. And how is that acceptable?
No, I agree. I saw that article. There was an article about Bards FM that there was a woman who was collecting money who had cancer. She had cancer. Yeah, Glenn, you can look it up. And she had cancer, and he collected $12,000 for her. And then she passed away, and then he used that $12,000 to pay his own bills. He was paying his rent and paying credit card bills, and he was, I believe, arrested for it. I think, right, Eric? Was he not?
That, or he refuses to pay back the family members of that cancer patient. And then, but besides that, I mean, I don't see how he can call himself a man of God if he's scamming cancer patients and then spewing this QAnon nonsense. And our friend Jeremy says that the way you can tell a false prophet is if they make predictions that don't ever come true.
Right. That's true. I mean, because that QAnon nonsense is what it is. Yeah, and I mean, again, for a guy like him, I mean, again, I don't know who this guy is, and I see that he supposedly goes into other people's podcasts. To be honest with you, I think those are probably
the people who go in his show, they're members of a cult, is what it is. As Jeremy and Slightly would say, and now they're going after Jeremy and Slightly very hard, but don't be surprised if they start coming after you.
They already have. I think there was a show I did about a week ago. Hey, Chris, there was a show I did about a week ago, and I had several people in. Eric, I don't think you were in that show. It was like a pop-up show that I did. And actually, they went after Dina Joe very hard in my show.
I think I was. One made a very sexually explicit comment.
Yeah, they were being very inappropriate. So I had to kind of go after them a little bit. I mean, again, I don't mind. I mean, if trolls want to come in and they want to attack me, I don't care. Fuck you. Come in, attack me. But when they come in and they're being inappropriate to some of the women that come into my show, then at that point, it's time for me to kind of lay down the law and tell them to take that shit someplace else.
Well, even the old man on the Old Man Show has already had to lay down the law because he had trolls spam his profile comments, saying nasty things about, Tammy and Ahana, and these are young kids from India.
Right. Now, if you look real quick, hold on one sec, Eric. If you look at what Glenn just said, this is what I believe also. I think Glenn's 100% correct on this. I mean, this guy Bards comes in. He's got 1,000 people on his live shows. If you think for a second he's coming into the John DeVito show to see what's going on, or if he's coming into, Bill and, Chuck and Billy, not your cup of tea podcast, he's not going into those shows. Those are trolls that are coming into those accounts just trying to create problems. I agree completely with that assessment. I don't think he really gives a damn about the John DeVito show and what I have to say. So, I mean, to think that he's actually coming to our shows, I would highly doubt that. I think he comes in, he does his shows. And honestly, you know, from my perspective, I don't mind him coming in because, again, if you get a guy coming in that's bringing in 1,000 people into his live, you know, great. Maybe I'll get a few more people into my live and, you know, it'll make things, you know, good for my show and some of the other shows that stick around here on Podbean. But hey, listen, I've got some things I want to talk about today, Eric, and I'm going to kind of go with this, and we're going to go in this direction for a little bit, and we may shift gears at a certain point and talk about other things. But you know, I've been thinking a lot about some of the things that are going on in this country right now. And I've been watching things unfold. You know, we've got Joe Biden is our new president, as everybody knows, Dementia Joe, as I call him. And, you know, he's doing a lot of things in this country right now that I don't like. And I know that there are people that feel differently. But he's been in office now for 10 days, and he has signed, I believe it's 39 executive orders in 10 days. So the last time I checked, we live in a democracy. We live in a free country where, you know, the people get to vote, people in Congress get to vote. And he comes in and he is now just laying down the law and signing executive order after executive order. And it seems like it's all part of a plan to, again, take away control from the American people and to give it to the political entity that he belongs to. Now, I think that this whole thing is definitely bigger than Joe Biden himself. I mean, this is not just Joe Biden. This is not just the Democratic Party. I think we are looking at the powers that be that truly control this country. And when I say that, I'm going to go to a George Carlin clip in a few minutes that's 4 minutes long. And for those of you that don't listen to George Carlin, I mean, in my opinion, one of the smartest comedians in the history of this country. He was a political comedian, and he does literally a 4-minute skit about the people that truly control this country and how they're a very elite group. And news for everybody, we are not part of that group. And it's a great skit, and it's right on. And I'm going to talk about, and I'm going to play that for a little bit and then talk about it a little bit beforehand, because he was so on, and I believe he's describing exactly what we are dealing with in this country right now. I mean, we have, in my opinion, whatever you want to call it, we have a deep state that is controlling our country. It is the wealthy. It is the elite. We're seeing those people right now take control of the stock market. I mean, you've got some people that found out a way now, you know, through that Reddit group where they're investing things like in GameStop, they're investing in AMC, they're investing in a new form of cryptocurrency. And these people are making millions of dollars and costing people who run hedge funds millions upon millions of dollars. So what's happening? You know, these people on Wall Street, they've become millionaires and billionaires based on the, you know, they're trading on the backs of other people. I mean, hedge fund managers, their whole thing is they want to see people fail, or they want to see companies fail so they can make their money. So these young entrepreneurs have now found a way to go out and invest in these stocks like GameStop and drive the price up. And these hedge fund managers that bet on these companies to fail are losing millions and millions of dollars. So what's happening? Now the regulators are coming out and saying, oh, no. What these guys doing, you know, it's not right. What these guys are doing is illegal. What these guys are doing should not happen. And this is basically the ultra wealthy. The people in this country who are controlling everything are now setting these regulations in place, saying, oh, no. We can't let the little guys make money. We can't let these guys take money away from these people who are ultra billionaires on Wall Street. And again, this is just another example of what is happening in our country right now, where the ultra wealthy, the deep state, the swamp, whatever you want to call them, are controlling the American people. They are controlling the world, and they are not allowing us to make decisions. Now, we're going to get into a little bit. I want to talk about the swamp. We've heard that term from Trump. You can call it the deep state. You can call it for whatever you want. As we get into this, I want to talk about who they are, what do they want, what is their goal, and how are they laying down that goal and getting the control that they want. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But before I do that, hopefully all of you hang in and listen to this. This is going to be a 4-minute clip that I'm going to play from George Carlin. It starts off with him talking about education and how the education system in our country sucks. And that's how the people in power want it to be, because they're looking for good little soldiers. And this is a great clip. It's about 4 minutes long. So please listen to this, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit. This is really funny, so enjoy it. This is George Carlin.
Not too bright, folks. Not too fucking bright. But if you talk to one of them about this, if you isolate one of them, you sit them down rationally, and you talk to them about the low IQs and the dumb behavior and the bad decisions, right away they start talking about education. That's the big answer to everything. Education. They say we need more money for education. We need more books, more teachers, more classrooms, more schools. We need more testing for the kids. And you say to them, well, you know, we've tried all of that, and the kids still can't pass the test. So don't you worry about that. We're going to lower the passing grades. And that's what they do in a lot of these schools now. They lower the passing grades so more kids can pass. More kids pass, the school looks good, everybody's happy, the IQ of the country slips another 2 or 3 points, and pretty soon all you'll need to get into college is a fucking pencil. Got a pencil? Get the fuck in there. It's physics. Then everyone wonders why 17 other countries graduate more scientists than we do. Education. Politicians know that word. They use it on you. Politicians have traditionally hidden behind 3 things: the flag, the Bible, and children. No child left behind. No child left behind. Oh, really? Well, it wasn't long ago you were talking about giving kids a head start. Head start, left behind. Someone's losing fucking ground here. But there's a reason. There's a reason. There's a reason for this. There's a reason education sucks, and it's the same reason that it will never, ever be fixed. It's never going to get any better. Don't look for it. Be happy with what you got. Because the owners of this country don't want that. I'm talking about the real owners now. The real owners, the big wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. Forget the politicians. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets. And they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls. They spend billions of dollars every year lobbying to get what they want. Well, we know what they want. They want more for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. That's against their interest. That's right. They don't want people who are smart enough to sit around the kitchen table to figure out how badly they're getting fucked by a system that threw them overboard 30 fucking years ago. They don't want that. You know what they want? They want obedient workers. Obedient workers. People who are just smart enough to run the machines and do the paperwork, and just dumb enough to passively accept all these increasingly shittier jobs with the lower pay, the longer hours, the reduced benefits, the end of overtime, and the vanishing pension that disappears the minute you go to collect it. And now they're coming for your Social Security money. They want your fucking retirement money. They want it back so they can give it to their criminal friends on Wall Street. And you know something? They'll get it. They'll get it all from you sooner or later because they own this fucking place. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club. And by the way, it's the same big club they use to beat you over the head with all day long when they tell you what to believe. All day long, beating you over the head in their media, telling you what to believe, what to think, and what to buy. The table is tilted, folks. The game is rigged. And nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. Good, honest, hardworking people, white collar, blue collar, doesn't matter what color shirt you have on. Good, honest, hardworking people continue. These are people of modest means. Continue to elect these rich cocksuckers who don't give a fuck about them. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about you at all. At all. At all. Yeah. You know? And nobody seems to notice, nobody seems to care. That's what the owners count on, the fact that Americans will probably remain willfully ignorant of the big red, white, and blue dick that's being jammed up their assholes every day. Because the owners of this country know the truth. It's called the American dream, because you have to be asleep to believe it.
All right, guys, there we go. George Carlin talking about the American dream. How accurate was that? I mean, is that not exactly what we are seeing in this country right now? I mean, if you think back now upon the fall, I mean, I know that we're going to go over this again, but if you think back upon this entire presidential election that just happened, what did we see? In the very beginning, we saw polls that were absolutely manipulated. They were absolutely manipulated. I mean, we were seeing polls where they were showing, just like back in 2016, talking about, again, this time around, it was Biden was winning by 20 points in the polls. When it came down to the actual election, we saw that it was neck and neck. The same thing happened back in 2016 when you saw the presidential polls that were put forward by CNN, MSNBC, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, the Washington Post. They were all controlling, the polls. They were controlling all of us, and they were telling us that Trump had no chance in the election. This was brainwashing. This was the deep state. This was the power it be. This is the swamp working together to control the minds of the American people. And if you don't think this is true, take a look at it. Again, this is happening over and over and over again. What's happening right now is we have this deep state. We have this swamp that is controlling us. And when we don't act the way they want us to act, we are being punished for it. Now, what's an example of that? One of the examples of this punishment is if you look back over the summer, we had the riots of Black Lives Matter and we had the riots of Antifa. Those same riots are still going on right now in the Pacific Northwest. We're seeing businesses being burned down. We're seeing cities being burned down. We're seeing violence against police officers. We're seeing people being injured in these protests, and it's not being reported on. Now, what happened on January 6th at the Capitol? Was it wrong? Yes. There should have never been anything on the 6th that should have turned violent. However, what I saw videos on January 6th of showing the police at the State House welcoming people into the State House and encouraging them to come in. They were pulling back the barriers. They were waving people in. This was something that happened again at our State House, but it was not a violent thing like it was reported to be in the media. So again, we're looking at something like the Black Lives Matter thing is being ignored. The Antifa things were being ignored. However, we're being crucified for what happened on January 6th. Now, why is that happening? If you look at what they're doing right now in this country, they are calling all of the Trump supporters, we are domestic terrorists, we are evil people, we are rednecks, we are ignorant, we are misogynists, we are racists, and going over these things one after another. And they're saying now, for the people that went to the Capitol House, now there were hundreds of thousands of people there. They were carrying United States flags. They were saluting the national anthem. They are people who are proud of our country. They are soldiers. And again, they are people of all different colors. We didn't have just white faces at those rallies. They were faces of people of many, many different colors. And what happened on that day was wrong in many ways. However, now we are seeing that the government wants to impeach Trump, even though he's out of office. They are labeling all these people domestic terrorists, and they are basically threatening anyone who is a supporter of Trump, telling them that if you supported that president and you're one of those supporters, you are now a domestic terrorist. You are an enemy of this country. And what does that mean for everybody that's out there? That means now, if you want to stand up against your government, if you feel that you have a corrupt government in this country, if you feel that your government is wasting your tax money, they're sending money to Pakistan instead of actually helping people in this country that can't afford to feed their families, then they're telling you, if you stand up against us, the rich, the deep state, the swamp, we are going to punish you. We are going to punish you. We are going to ruin your reputation. We are going to call you a racist. We are going to call you a terrorist. We are going to impeach your leader. We are coming after you because just like George Carlin had just said, they want you to be in a box. They want you to be obedient. They want you to follow what they tell you to follow. And when Joe Biden says he wants unity and the Democrats tell you they want unity, in my opinion, they don't want unity. They want conformity. They want you to conform to what they want you to do. And if you don't do it, then they're coming after you. They're coming after you. And this is how they're going to maintain power in this country, is by dominating anyone that speaks up. And again, this is what this is the purpose of the deep state. This is the purpose of the swamp. We are talking about the elite in this country that we cannot see. People like Soros, who are controlling America, controlling the people. They have all the money, and they want to keep all the money. They don't want you to have the money. They want to keep it. They want to continue to control it. And you better damn well go to work, shut your mouth, believe what they're telling you on their media platforms. If you don't, you're a terrorist. And you're a terrorist because you're against their way of life. You're against them continuing to pull in money off of your back. And that's kind of what we're seeing right now. And it just disgusts me. So, that's kind of what I'm seeing. And now I've got to address something here. I see Wolf Real Talk Radio. Wolf, why don't you call into my show? I happen to see you talking a little bit about someone in your family that's missing. I would like to kind of interrupt what we're talking about this show. And if you're available to call in, I'd like to have you call in and tell people what's happening with the person in your family that's actually missing. So if you have the availability to call in, please tell us what's going on. Now, Eric, if you've been watching the chat, could you tell us a little bit about what's happening with Wolf's relative? What's going on?
I haven't really paid too much attention to it, but I also just looked for another video. Can you hear me?
Yeah, so what's going on with Wolf's relative? Explain the situation for me.
I haven't paid too much attention, but because I'm out driving right this moment.
Right.
But
if you try to call in without the Bluetooth. If we get an echo, we get an echo. Just call in and tell us briefly what's going on, and we'll deal with the
I'll put myself on mute if I have to, but I also sent you a link in the chat. And this is of like Joan Rivers saying that, being asked if we would ever have America's first gay president, and her answer was, we already had our first gay president in the form of Obama, and she called Michelle a tranny, and many people swear that this probably got her killed.
Yeah, I've seen those pictures of Michelle Obama when she was younger. She looks like she could have made the transition over. She kind of did look like a man when she was a little bit younger. But hold on one sec. Glenn made a comment down below, and it looks like Wolf posted a TikTok video. So if you all get a chance, click on that TikTok video, take a look at it. But apparently in Arkansas, there's an 18-year-old autistic young man who is missing in Marion, Arkansas. So again, we will share the show, and that's a shame to hear because I know I have an 18-year-old son that's on the autism spectrum, and to hear that an 18-year-old son is missing, I'm really sorry to hear that. So I'm hoping he turns up, and I'm hoping that he is found, and if there's anything we can do here at this show, please let us know, and we would certainly share it. What I'll do when I get off, I'll try to get on, find that TikTok video, and maybe share that if I can, and do what I can to maybe help. So, hey, prayers for you. And you see that's frustrating. So the cops aren't helping. Now, why wouldn't the cops be helping? The cops see that there's an 18-year-old adult with autism who's missing. And as it was said in the description here, that he has maybe the mentality of like a 5-year-old child. And I get it. Sometimes the autistic people have mentality that is not where they need to be. So this poor young man is lost, and the police are not doing anything to help. That's terrible. I mean, this is one of those things where the police need to get off their ass, and they need to help out in this situation and do what they can to find this young man. I appreciate you sending it to me on Twitter. However, I am temporarily banned from Twitter because I was inappropriate, so I can't get onto Twitter, unfortunately. So maybe I can get a private message. I'm not sure. When I click on the Twitter app now, I just get a warning that comes up saying I've been banned for 7 days, and I could just accept it and delete the tweet, but I told them no, I want to appeal it because I don't think it was that bad. So I'm not going to give it to Twitter, and I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make them look at it, and if they want to continue the ban, I know, right? Yeah, I pulled out I'm proud of myself.
Another reason we need to support repealing Section 230, because I think big tech entities like TikTok and Facebook and Twitter need to get off their fucking high horse and and quit being so butthurt.
Man, I see Wolf for Real Talk Radio talking again. He's saying the cops said they can't look until he's missing 24 hours, and last night it was 36 degrees. See, I mean, I get it that they have to have policies, and I get it that they need to have these things. Well, he needs to be missing for 24 hours. But when you're talking about an 18-year-old man who has autism and maybe has the mentality of a 5-year-old child, if he's missing for 24 hours, obviously he hasn't run off with somebody. Obviously he's not at a bar drinking. He's lost someplace. He's out somewhere in the cold. And, they need to get off their ass and help out. So I'm really sorry to hear that is happening. And I hope you find them. I will pray for your family. I will pray for him to be found. And hopefully someone gets off and actually helps and does what they're supposed to do and goes out and finds him. So I'm sorry to hear that. That's rough news. And I feel that pain a lot because, as you know, I've got 4 children. And if any of my children were missing, including my 18-year-old son with autism, I would be devastated. So I appreciate you sharing that on the show. And, again, I don't really know anybody, I think you said in the Arkansas area, but you never know. Someone maybe will listen to this once I publish it, and maybe it'll help. So hopefully in some small way we can maybe find a way to help out. So, just scary stuff. So, but, Eric, what you were talking about regarding social media, that's part of the problem. I mean, we were talking earlier, before we started talking about the missing child, We were talking about the swamp. We were talking about all the control that this country has with the deep state, with politicians, with everything going on. Social media is a big part of it. I mean, there is an entire picture where you've got these people at the top of the pyramid who are controlling everything, right? They're controlling everything. And this filters down through newspapers, television stations, social media platforms. I mean, this is a widespread conspiracy. It's a widespread platform where they're all set on controlling the American people. And if you look at what happened in this election, okay, maybe Joe Biden won. Maybe he got the most votes in the history of our country. Maybe he got more votes than Bill Clinton. Maybe he got more votes than Ronald Reagan. Maybe he got more votes than Barack Obama. Maybe he got more votes than Donald Trump. Or maybe the government used COVID to go out and allow people to mail in ballots. Maybe they used COVID to allow the party to come in and cheat and get Donald Trump out of office. Now, why would they want to do that? Was Donald Trump, hold on, was Donald Trump a loudmouth? Of course he was. Was Donald Trump someone that baited the other side and tried to antagonize them? Of course he was. Was Donald Trump someone that said inappropriate things? Absolutely. He was annoying. He said inappropriate things. And, you know, he did a lot of things that he probably shouldn't have done in that way. But Joe Biden was a guy that literally is an 80-year-old man that has dementia. He's an 80-year-old man that does not deserve to be in the office of president. In my opinion, he's a pawn. He's a person that the left is using to push their agenda forward, and they cheated him into office. In my opinion, they cheated him into office, and you know, there's nothing that can really tell me that did not happen. I mean, if you look at the mail-in ballots, there's no doubt cheating happened with the mail-in ballots. There's no doubt whatsoever. There was most likely cheating with the Dominion voting machines that use software that allowed them to cheat. It was done in Venezuela with the same machines, and you can't tell me it didn't happen with Joe Biden. So it's unfortunate that that's the way our country has gone. But if you look at the whole picture, if you look at TV stations, newspapers, social media platforms, if you're looking now at voting being taken away from us, we are seeing a complete takeover of the American people where we literally have no freedoms. We have no freedom of speech. We don't have the right to vote. These things have all been taken away from us. And if we continue to allow this to happen, if we don't stand up as the American people, we are not going to have a free country, because we're getting pretty damn close right now to not having one. You know, Eric, I don't know how you feel about it, but that's just kind of how
it sounds like they want America to become the United Socialist States of America, which, you know, as I think fellow Americans should not allow that to happen. But like you were saying, you know, Biden is basically a political puppet, is what he is. You know, and if you're able to play that Joan Rivers video, that, you know, if you thought you know, George Carlin was pretty raunchy, this was a lady who could be just about as raunchy, if not raunchier, or Andrew Dice Clay. Yeah,
no, I always liked Joan Rivers. Joan Rivers was very funny.
And this is a clip where she was asked by a reporter about the gay president, if you're able to play that.
Now I see Glenn talking in the chat down there. Now he's saying if I ran for president, I would get 14 votes because I have a big family. Now, I appreciate that. I do appreciate the fact that you would think I would get 14 votes, but I'm guessing, number one, my wife would not vote for me because she disagrees with everything I say. So I probably would not get her vote. So I'm saying I would get like at least a strong 8 or 9 votes, you know, if I ran for president. So I do appreciate your optimism that I would get 14 votes. I don't think it would quite be that many. So, Eric, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at that Joan Rivers video first, and then maybe I'll play it on my next show. I want to watch it before I put it on, but I'm going to take a look at it, and I probably will play it then in the next show because I did like her, and she was very funny. So, anyway, Eric, what do you got going on this weekend? What are you doing this weekend aside from politics? What's going on in your life? Anything exciting?
Well, I now have my weekly free think meeting coming up at 3 p.m. Eastern time today.
Explain that to me. What's that?
I've been, and I'm working on trying to help them, the guys over at the Free Think Institute, like Arch Kennedy and Dave Largo and Jim Dwyer and Ray Bell and Peter Haratatos into, getting into podcasting and in order to spread their message. And these are the same gentlemen we had on our November 30th edition of the Slightly Serious Show.
Now, let me ask you, what's happening with the whole VOP network? Now, has everybody still gone over there? Because I still see Slightly on Podbean. I still see Cummings on Podbean. Has everyone moved over to VOP, or is it still kind of like in a transition?
I think it's still transitioning. The VOPUSARadio.com apps, we're still waiting for them to be released. According to Dan, the Google version is ready, but we're still waiting for Apple, but so they can both be released on the exact same day.
And when are you guys going to get Glenn? How about Glenn from the Glenn Beldner Sports Show? I think you guys need a sports show in that network. Has Glenn been invited over to the VOP network?
I mean, I think Dan has, explored interest in Glenn and a couple other people, and we're hoping we can attract as many people over there as possible. Okay. And then I found that Woke Conservative podcast yesterday, and I notified them of like VOP and that the reason to take VOP over like a Podbean or a Castbox or any other podcast platform is you have censorship and shadow banning free opportunities over there.
Dan, Glenn, how can anybody not like you? I see your post down there. Dan doesn't like me. He blocked me. I find that impossible. You're a very likable person. Hey, Glenn, since we got you in, man, and you're a sports guy, let's talk Super Bowl a little bit. You want to get on and talk some Super Bowl? I'm a big football fan, as you know, and I imagine you're following what's going on the Super Bowl. If you want to call in, let's talk a little Super Bowl. I mean, I have my feelings on what's going to happen next weekend. I agree, man. I find it, again, I love Mahomes. He's a great quarterback. The Chiefs have a great team. You got Tyreek Hill. You got Travis Kelce. You've got a good all-around team. And I think that they certainly could win the Super Bowl. However, you've got the Tom Brady factor with one of the best receiving corps in the NFL. He's got a good run defense. The pass defense maybe not quite as strong. His offensive line is solid in the running game, but as far as pass blocking, not quite as good. They've got a good running back in Fournette. I think when it comes down to it, if you look at the Super Bowl, you've got to look at two factors. The Tom Brady factor in the Super Bowl is a huge one. He's been there. He hasn't won them all, but it doesn't scare him. And the number two thing is this is going to be a home game for Tampa Bay. I mean, this game's in Tampa. They're going to have 26,000 fans in the stands making a lot of noise. And again, these quarterbacks haven't heard noise this season because they haven't had fans. I think when you look at the game being a home game for Brady and you look at the weapons he has on offense and you look at Tom Brady just being in the Super Bowl again, I'm going to give my pick to Tampa Bay. I mean, I think the Bucs are going to win it. I could see them again. I can see it being a close game because you never know with Mahomes. He's a great quarterback, and he's certainly got the weapons also. I think it's going to be an exciting Super Bowl. I would predict like a 34-27 game, and it's going to be a typical Brady game where, every Super Bowl he's in, it's like you have a heart attack if you're a Brady fan watching those games because it's always a close game. But, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Now, Eric, I know that you're not a huge football fan, but, I mean, you must follow enough where you see the difference between Brady and Mahomes. Do you think Kansas City can beat Tampa Bay, or do you think Brady's going to win another one?
I could see Brady pulling this one off because, well, and I know with the game being in Tampa Bay, I mean, this is very rare for a Super Bowl to have like home team advantage,
right?
Because usually in a Super Bowl, the games are played throughout the regular season, but the host city of the Super Bowl event is already predetermined.
Right. Yeah, it just worked out well for them where they're going to have that game, in the home stadium. And I guess that's never really happened before. So, I mean, you really couldn't line it up more perfectly for Brady to win another one. And, like I've said on a couple of the shows, the people up here in New England are kind of angry at Brady for leaving. I'm not one of them. I mean, for me, I love Tom Brady. I mean, I'm a Patriots fan first and foremost. But, I mean, how can you, as a Patriots fan, how can you look at 20 years of Tom Brady playing football for the New England Patriots and be angry because he moved on? Now, if you look at the reason why he moved on, I mean, Brady wanted to play football until he was 45 years old. He made that clear, right? And what did Belichick and Kraft do for the last few years? Did they give him weapons? They gave him nobody to throw to. They gave him no running game. He had nothing. He had nothing. He had no chance of winning another Super Bowl, and he even gave Kraft every chance he could to re-sign him, to throw more money at him, and he didn't do it. So Brady made it clear
they
that he
poo-pooed it.
And he went to Tampa Bay. It was the perfect scenario for him, a good team with a lot of receivers that he could win at. And so now people in New England are saying, well, that's Brady's fault. He's a traitor. He's this and he's that. I don't know. I mean, I don't see him as being a traitor. I'm seeing a guy that wanted to move on and play football. The Patriots didn't want him back. And I'm not even against the decision that the Patriots made not to bring him back. I think at some point they did need to make the choice to rebuild their franchise. And one of the biggest complaints I had about the old Boston Celtics was back in the day when they had Larry Bird, Kevin McHale, and Robert Parrish and all those players. They held on to those guys too late into their career. They never made any trades to make that team better. You know, McHale, Bird, and Parrish got old, and then the Celtics were caught in like a 10-year period of time where they just completely sucked because they had no good young players. So I don't have a problem with Belichick and Kraft moving on from Brady. But for the New England Patriots fans to blame Brady, I think that's just, poor sportsmanship, and it's kind of bullshit, in my opinion, quite honestly. And welcome to people coming in. I see Vats Graham and Chris Mosca. If anyone's in, I see Father Brian, man. Welcome to the show. If any of you guys want to ask any questions, please put it in the chat if you'd like to talk. If you want to call in, please call in. We'd love to have you on the show. And Father Brian, as you all know, has one of the best shows on Podbean. You can find him on at night. And I was supposed to interview Father Brian twice, and both times I had to cancel because of stupid work got in the way. So unfortunately, at some point, we will get maybe Father Brian on. And if I have to cancel on him a third time, I give him the okay to send out those nude pictures of me that I sent to him privately via text. So Father Brian, if I cancel on you again, you can take those nude pictures I sent you of myself and just post them on Twitter, So there you go. I've got that out there for you. So okie dokie. Welcome to the show. I see you coming in. And again, nude pictures, you're definitely going to get banned just because Twitter doesn't want people to like throw up as they're driving and that type of thing. And my wife could definitely verify that. So anyway, go ahead, Eric. What were you going to say?
Well, I went in Lingalonga's show late last night and asked him if he would be interested in coming on sometime to do a get to know your podcaster interview. And I sent him your email address, but the only other way you could reach him besides email would be through Discord.
Yeah, he's a pretty chilled back guy, a laid back guy. And I haven't been in his show in a while, but I do like his show. I love the fact, I don't know if you ever really chatted with him. I'm sure you have. I've chatted back and forth.
I mean, he's a really nice guy.
Yeah. Well, I like that he gets on, he plays his own music, he sings his own songs. And one of the reasons why he started doing things on Podbean was because he has stage fright. So he likes to get on and sing his music here where he can do it kind of in a public forum and feel a little bit more comfortable about performing. And he does. He seems like a really chill guy. And I think he's talented. I like his music. I mean, he's obviously really good. He plays the guitar, sings his songs. What's the name? It's the Lingalonga Show.
Come in Lingalonga here is the name of it.
Now, where is he based? I think he's in Australia, right? Isn't he in Australia?
He lives in Australia, yes.
Nice. Well, did you see? I just saw in the news this morning. I'm not sure if you saw this, Eric, but in Australia, they showed a tennis sporting event that's going on right now in Australia. And I'm sorry, I'm laughing at Glenn's comment. He doesn't like me either. So anyway, I saw a tennis event in Australia where all the fans in the stands were without masks. Apparently, Australia hasn't had any new COVID cases over the last, I guess, few months. So, I mean, that's pretty amazing. It was nice to see people in the stands without masks who maybe are getting back to their normal life. And I guess maybe here in the U.S., we can hold out hope that maybe we'll get back to that at some point where we can actually go to a concert or go to a sporting event or something to that effect this summer and actually enjoy life again. I mean, it kind of gives you hope and optimism that maybe we're getting through this whole thing, So I don't know. I mean, that made me feel good to see that because, again, last summer I had tickets to see Guns N' Roses with two of my sons, and they canceled the show. And I've already seen Guns N' Roses a couple of times, but this was going to be cool because this concert was going to be at Fenway Park where the Red Sox play. So they did reschedule it for this summer. We still have the tickets. So I'm kind of hoping I get to go out and see Guns N' Roses perform at Fenway Park this year. And then my daughter also has tickets with my wife. They're going to go see a concert at Fenway Park this summer also. So we're kind of hoping we're back to normal so we can actually go to these concerts without masks and start living our lives again. So looking up in the chat, man, I see Glenn, man. So what's up, man? Nobody likes you. What the fuck? I think you're a great guy. I mean, it seems like you've got all these enemies, and I don't see where you create these enemies. I mean, Glenn is always in the Father Brian show, and Glenn comes into my show, and I think Glenn's fantastic. He's kind of like, it seems like Homeboy, though. Homeboy creates, I guess, all kinds of enemies, but he's been nothing but great in my show. You know what I mean, Eric? So I don't know. So
I just think people haven't really quite warmed up to them.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, you know what? People are too fucking sensitive. Now, did you see? I got into Homeboy had a show yesterday, and I popped into his show, and Homeboy was talking about, I guess he went into another show, and they were just ripping him in the show, and they were kind of all over him, and then they blocked him. And I guess he was really upset because this was a show that he goes into all the time. And I don't know if I've ever even been in this show. I think he was saying it was like the Underground Live or something like that. I don't even know whose show that is. But apparently he was
Passive J and Big Dalton are the names of people there.
Okay. I've been in that show. I like Passive J. So I'm surprised they actually blocked him from the show. But who knows what Homeboy did? I know sometimes he can come in and be inappropriate also. So who knows what actually happened? Because I do like that show. Passive J actually has a really good show, and I've enjoyed that the few times I've been in. But Father Brian, I think you're right, man. I think that's exactly the problem. When you're honest, when you tell people like it is, some people just can't handle that because I think people are so used to hearing excuses. They're used to hearing lies. They're used to hearing bullshit stories. And when someone comes in and they're honest and they tell you the truth, some people can't handle that. I mean, for me, I would much rather have honesty. I mean, if you come in and you don't like me, tell me I'm an asshole. I'll tell you you're an asshole. We're good to go. We can both move forward. We don't have to waste time. Like I look at the people in my life right now, like I can fully admit that Father Brian is absolutely one of the most handsome men I've ever seen in my life. And if I were gay, which I'm not, then Father Brian might be one of those guys that I would switch teams for, but looking at him though, I don't know if we're the same size. So I'm not sure if I could inherit Father Brian's wardrobe, because for me, that's always been one of the good things about being gay, about thinking about being gay, is actually finding someone that's my size where I could inherit that wardrobe, and I'd like double my wardrobe right away. So yeah, you have to say 5'2", that wouldn't work. Now Glenn I find to be a very particularly handsome man as well, but I think he's a little bit on the smaller side also. So I need a big guy, that could maybe convince me to switch teams and become gay. So I don't know. I'm going to continue to work on it because, again, if I could find a man that loves sports, that wanted to watch football with me, so I'm too old. Brian likes his men young. You're right. That's what I need to find. I need to find a younger man that is my size where I can kind of wear his wardrobe. But you're right. I am an old bastard, and I need to find some like young man where I could be a sugar daddy or something like that. I don't know, man. So yeah, this has kind of gone in a weird direction. So let's see, Milk Dog. Now this was funny. Homeboy was on the other day on my show, and I'm mentioning this because Milk Dog came up. Homeboy came on. He was talking about how he loves UFC fighting, and he wants to, he's trying to convince me to watch UFC. I do watch it sometimes, but I don't tune in on purpose to watch UFC. If I'm flipping the channels and I happen to see it, I'll stop and watch it for a while. But I tried to ask Homeboy if he could go into the cage with somebody and fight somebody, who would it be? So I suggested first it would be Eric Kirk. Why don't we put you in the cage with Eric? Both Eric and he decided they liked each other and they couldn't fight in the cage. So I said to Homeboy, all right, if you don't want to fight Eric, who would you fight? And right away he brought up Milk Dog. Now I started laughing because I love Milk Dog. He's on the air all the time. He's a great guy. He's a funny guy. He has a good show. But Homeboy picked the one guy that was in a wheelchair that he wants to fight. I think Milk Dog has MS, if I remember correctly. So Homeboy decided that if he was going into the cage, he wanted to go in there against Milk Dog. And I don't know. I don't find that to be a fair fight. I mean, Milk Dog might be a badass, though. You never know. You don't want to underestimate him in the wheelchair. He could come out and kick Homeboy's ass. But I don't know. I was a little worried when I heard Homeboy talking about he wanted to take on a guy with MS who was in a wheelchair. I think that's kind of an unfair fight. Don't you think, Eric?
I would agree. But, I think Milk Dog would probably have reinforcement.
Yeah, he would. He would. Yeah, I agree, Glenn. I mean, for me, the Milk Dog show is not exactly my cup of tea. I have been in there. I do find it at times funny. But, for him, I think it's more of like a social thing for him. Like he likes to get on and socialize. I think he's in a really tough position physically with his health. And I think for him, it's a nice outlet where he can get on and talk to friends and things like that. So I'm happy for him that he has it. Yeah, that's how it is too. I mean, again, the John DeVito show is certainly not everybody's cup of tea. I'm working my way towards getting that 1,000 people online with me. I think the most I've ever had, maybe at one point, was I had 30 people on my show. So, I'm only like 1,970 people short in my life. So I'm getting there, So Glenn, that makes me feel good. You say you're finicky, but you come into my show And I know that when I talk politics, it bores you. So I try to get away from that subject when you're in here. But yeah, I wish you would go live more. I don't listen to as many downloaded shows as I'd like to. And I think you should come back into Podbean and do your shows live, because I think some of the negativity that you would experience has kind of moved on from this platform, you know, and I haven't seen so many of those people on. Now, Eric, whatever happened to Nonsense Password? I mean,
I noticed his show's not been on in about like a month or so, but I noticed he had like scaled back drastically. But I mean, and I know when Slightly decided to do an impromptu show last night, you know, he and I like made the joke that Bards FM's cult makes Nonsense's hog cult look like child's play.
It does. You're right. I mean, you look at shows that we consider to be popular on this platform. I mean, Nonsense Password was a very good show. And again, he and I didn't really agree on a lot of things, but that's okay. You don't have to. I mean, I respected the fact he was good at podcasting. I respected the fact that he had a good show with a good following. And, you know, when you look at his show, you know, sometimes he'd have, 20, 30 people in his show when he did his nighttime shows. But then you look at that, you see someone like Bards that has over 1,000 people in his live. I mean, there's obviously a big gap between being successful on Podbean as a small-time podcast and actually really being successful with a podcast, So it's kind of...
Oh, that is true.
So, but I enjoy doing this. I mean, I've got, it's funny how you do shows at different times of the day, and I found actually, it's kind of funny. I've been doing some Sunday morning shows. Last week, I had, I think, almost 200 people come into my live show total during the course of the show on a Sunday. And I didn't expect it to be that busy, but it was one of those shows where, we really had a lot of people coming in. And it was a pretty popular show. Hey, we get Cummings' Culture coming into the show. Hey, man, if you want to call in, I'd love to chat with you a little bit. Come in, come join our panel. We're just kind of freestyling a little bit. We talked a little bit about politics. We talked a little bit about the Super Bowl, and we're just chilling a little bit. So if you want to come in and chat, we'd love to have you. And I did see, Jeremy, that the Patriots were recently in Alabama interviewing the quarterback for the Tide. So I would love to see maybe him make his way up to New England and be maybe the next Patriots quarterback. So we'll see. I hope they do take him. But I mean, I think, if they do take him as the future quarterback of the Patriots, I don't think he's going to be a guy that's ready right away. So they're going to probably have to go out and get like a Matthew Stafford or somebody like that for a few years to kind of bridge that gap until he's ready to take over the reins completely. But that would be huge for the Patriots if they nailed him as their quarterback. So I'm kind of hoping that does happen. I mean, to watch him play, he's extremely talented, So, Eric, we're at the end of January. How is the weather today in the Georgia area? We were, I think, when I woke up this morning here in Massachusetts, it was 1 degree, and that just pisses me off. So, how's the weather?
Going outside, I mean, the weather ain't too bad, even though it's kind of cloudy. But don't know if we're got any rain in the forecast. But I think out in California yesterday, they got like a soaker.
Did they? You know what though? For the people in California, it was funny because I actually spoke to someone in California yesterday, and they were complaining about the rain. And I'm like, you know what, dude? You get like 340 sunny days a year. It's like 75 to 80 every friggin' day, and you're going to complain about your 1 day of rain? Come live where I live. I live in hell. Right now, for like the next 3 months, it's going to be like, if we're lucky, it gets into the 20s. Today it was one when I woke up. And now this shows you what I'm like in Massachusetts. I had to bring my boys to baseball this morning when it was 1 o'clock. They practice indoors in a big complex. And I still went out of the house wearing shorts. So 1 degree, and I wore shorts out of the house this morning. I didn't even bother putting pants on. So that's kind of the person I am. The cold doesn't bother me, but I don't know, man. When I hear Californians complaining about their weather, when they have like 1 day of rain, it's like, come live in the hell that I live in. It's just cold and shitty, and even in the springtime, it like rains every day. So we get literally in New England, in Massachusetts, if you look at the weather, the only relatively safe guarantee here for weather is the month of July is really nice. The month of August is hot, but it's still usually very nice. The month of September is absolutely beautiful. October is decent, but it starts getting cold halfway through the month. So really here in March, it's cold as shit. It's just like January and February. In April, it's rainy as hell, and it still could snow right through the whole month of April. And it's funny, when you live in New England, I don't know why the people forget, what the weather's like up here. But if you're on Facebook or on social media, you have all these people from Massachusetts that get on and they're like, fuck yeah, it's April, springtime. And then like 4 days later, we get like 9 inches of snow. And the people are like, what the fuck? It's April. Why is it snowing? And my thing is like, dude, how long have you been living here? It snows every fucking April. It's cold every April. It's never springtime actually in April. So maybe by the time we get into May, we get some somewhat decent weather, maybe a day that hits like 70, but then the next day it's like 38 and freezing cold again. So, and June is a month too, where it can still be very cold and even rainy through June. So like you, when you live in Massachusetts, you can look forward to July, August, and September, half of October, and then you're right back in the shit again. So that's all we get here. We get nothing here. So California, take your 1 day of rain and jam it up your ass. I don't feel bad for you. So, Jeremy, welcome to the show. How you doing, man?
Hey, what's up, man?
Not too much. I'm just kind of chilling. Chilling. I got nothing to do today. My kids are done with baseball. We have no obligations this afternoon. So I'm just sitting at my kitchen table doing a quick podcast. And then I'm going to probably sit in my reclining leather chair and watch TV. So that's kind of my plan for the day. What are you doing today?
Shit, probably about the same thing.
About the same, right? Yeah, we got the pellet stove going full-fledged right now. Any of you people in warm climates, do you even know what pellet stoves are? Do you guys have those down there?
You know about wood heaters?
No, it's it's kind of like a wood heater. It's called a pellet stove. Instead of having a wood stove where you burn logs, you get like these little wood pellets. They come in bags, and you dump them in the top of the stove. Yeah, and it heats up the house. And they really do a good job. I mean, it heats up a good portion of our house, and we don't use as much oil heat in the wintertime. So we love our pellet stove. I would never live in a cold climate again, without a pellet stove. But now, are you guys getting cold weather in Georgia or Alabama at all?
Oh yeah, it's like this cold here, and then the wind's blowing, and it's just it sucks. We've got winter fatigue down here because we never get snow like ever. And apparently the government decided, was like, oh, well, 2020 was bad, so let's turn fucking HARP off. And, it's just like, we've got snow. We got snow more this year than we ever have. And
how much snow have you gotten? Have you gotten that much?
It snowed. It's been some pretty decent snows this year where I live. I don't know about where everybody else in Alabama, but the northwestern corner of Alabama, man, we've had some. And some days it doesn't. Some days it doesn't stick. But my God, dude, when 5-6 years ago, we never saw fucking snow. It didn't matter if it was just snow flurries. We never saw it.
This year for us, we haven't gotten that much snow. Like I'm looking outside to my backyard right now. We did get and for us, this is kind of a little bit of a dusting. We got, I think, the other night, 6 inches of snow. So 6 inches isn't that much for us. That's, if you have 6 inches of snow, school's still open, you drive out in the snowstorms, you go to the store, it doesn't really change life because, what we have up here is, if you haven't been in New England, we have just an amazing organization with all the snow plows. And I'm sure that, Glenn, if he's still in here, could talk about that. Hey, DeGray, welcome to the show. But when you go out in a snowstorm here, there are just thousands and thousands of commercial snow plows all over the highways, all over the streets, everywhere. So for a 6-inch storm, they probably won't even plow to after the storm. And we all have 4-wheel drive trucks up here, so we all drive in the snow. But we haven't had that winter where we get those huge storms where we get 2 feet of snow. And most winters we have a few of those, so we haven't really had one of those yet. So we're kind of still waiting for that shoe to drop where we start getting those big snowstorms. And we had one of those winters, I've talked about it before, where I think it was 10 years ago, where in the month of February we got caught in that track, the weather track, where the storms, they're almost like hurricanes. They come up the coast one after another. That we call them nor'easters up here, and they come up the coast. And because New England kind of sticks out a little bit, if you look at a map, these storms gather intensity the whole way up, and they just pound New England one after another. And we had that winter where I live, we had over 10 feet of snow. And most of that snow happened in the month of February, where literally twice a week we would get hit with storms that were anywhere from 1 foot to 2 feet of snow. And it was just crazy. And that was the year where my kids were sledding off of the roof of our house onto the driveway. We had to hire a company to shovel the roof off our snow. We thought that our roof was going to collapse. we had a door out by our back deck that was covered almost all the way to the top. We couldn't even see out. So I don't know. So Chuck and Billy, man, Chuck, you ought to call in and tell us a little bit about your show. Unfortunately, I missed it last night. I couldn't get on, but I would love to hear what happened in your show with those two women you had on. And the gray area, yes. I am rooting for the Bucs. I like Tom Brady. We talked about that a little while ago. And, I think Kansas City's a great team. Mahomes has been in the Super Bowl before and won, but I think it's going to be tough when you get the Brady factor with a great receiving core, a good running game, and it's going to inevitably be a home game for the Bucs. I think it's going to be a tough one for Kansas City to win. So if I had to put money on the game, I'd put money on Tampa Bay. I think they're going to beat Kansas City, but you can't count out Mahomes. I mean, he is definitely, without a doubt, the best young quarterback in the game. And I do like him as a quarterback. And when you've got guys like Kelsey and Tyreek Hill, we'll see if the Bucs pass defense can actually stop them, because their pass defense has not been, phenomenal. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But my pick would be Tampa Bay over Kansas City. So what do you think, Jeremy? I know you're a football fan, but you're more of a college fan. What do you think's going to happen in the Super Bowl?
I listen, bad boys for Lottie and Gronk. That's just, that's just the way I am. I hope Brady wins it, because that'd be his 7th Super Bowl to prove that he can do it without Belichick. Yeah. It'll cement him as the greatest of all time. But listen, man, you were talking about Mac Jones, the quarterback out of Alabama.
I hope we get him. Do you think he's going to come to New England?
Oh, hell yeah!
Down there meeting with him. Now, what gives you that idea? Have they been talking about it in Alabama at all?
Oh, hell yeah! That's the pick right there, because it's a perfect fit. He's got that pocket presence like Brady. He throws like Brady. He's not as athletic. He's not a real like he does the RPOs, but dude, he puts the ball where it's just fucking ridiculous where that guy can put the ball. Like he has been so underrated. And so they had they had Senior Bowl yesterday.
I see Chuck I just saw Chuck's message. Now Chuck is from Massachusetts, and he posted in there, hopefully Brady breaks both of his legs. Come on, Chuck. I don't get it. I mean, you're a Massachusetts guy and you're dumping on the GOAT, man. I don't get it. I don't see how that is even, viable, but that's okay. You don't have to like that, Brady,
Chuck could always call into the show to, state his case on the record.
They can always do that if Chuck wants to call in and tell us why he hates Tom Brady. I can see why. I mean, Tom Brady, I do feel bad for the guy. He doesn't have much going on. He's 6'5", 230 pounds, really handsome, married to the most beautiful underwear model in the fucking world. And, I mean, he's had a tough life. So I do feel bad for the GOAT. I do feel bad,
But
yeah, Uggs. You're right, Father Brian. He wears Uggs. I can't get on board with that. I agree with you there, man. Uggs and fur coats.
Well,
with that at all.
And I think that with the Patriots, and instead of blaming Tom Brady for leaving, that they ought to be looking at the Patriots management for saying, why didn't you give him what he wanted?
Yeah, it's true. Hey, I see Chris's comment in there. I'm sorry if football is a little bit of a trigger for you. I know I saw your quote from earlier in the podcast where it had to do with you being at Agape boarding school and all that stuff. I'm sorry, football is a bit of a trigger. I can tell you this, that I played for 11 years, and the happiest day of my fucking life was the day I turned in my football pads for the last day. I mean, football was great, but it is a brutal, violent sport where the coaches just shit on you constantly. I mean, my life in college it was brutal. I had to literally 3 or 4 days a week. I'm up in the morning. We had coordinated workouts with the football team all winter long. So I'm in the basketball gymnasium 5 o'clock in the morning before classes, and they would set up trash cans all over the floor for us to throw up in. So we would run stadium steps. We would do agility drills. And, I was in college. There were nights where you'd go out drinking and you'd get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and they would just beat the living shit out of you. Then at night, 5 days a week, you're in the gym lifting. Then when the winter's over, you go into spring football where they just beat the living crap out of you in spring football. Then you go into the season, and then, you play the season, you get like a month off of the summer where, of course, you're lifting the whole summer and working out. And then we'd come back right in the probably the beginning of August for football practice. So yeah, man, football, it was good. It paid for my education. And luckily I've got some semblance of brain cells and some semblance of my body left. But yeah, I don't miss playing that sport at all. So I'm sorry it's a bit of a trigger for you. I mean, for me, I enjoy watching it. Yeah, definitely. I'll still be on 5 minutes. Call back in when you're ready. Absolutely. And if anybody else wants to join, please feel free to join, because I want to talk more about the Alabama quarterback and whether or not he's going to be coming to New England. So I'm hoping that he knows something. Now, see, Chuck, I'm with you there, man. My sport was always baseball, and I love baseball.
Well, you ought to see Pertwee.
Is he a baseball guy?
Not really. Like whenever we talked about baseball on Slightly Show, he would always do that to hashtag F baseball in the chat.
Oh, see, baseball is my sport, man. I was a better baseball player than a football player, but because I was a stupid ass, I decided to move away from baseball and move to football to basically piss my father off, and in turn, of course, walked away from the sport that I truly loved, being a dumbass. But yeah, baseball is by far my favorite sport. My boys both play. My two youngest boys, they're both good ball players. My daughter played softball for many years. My oldest son, who had autism, it just wasn't his thing. But yeah, Chris, if you don't know much about my younger boys, I have a 14-year-old son, and he plays travel baseball. This year, he's going to play almost 100 games, apparently. And he trains every Saturday morning. He takes hitting lessons with a local college coach. And then after that, he takes catching lessons. This might be before your time, but he takes catching lessons with the ex-Red Sox catcher, Rich Gedman, from the 1980s, who actually coaches at this facility. Rich Gedman is one of the AAA Red Sox coaches, so he actually coaches the AAA Red Sox team, and he's literally leaving for spring training in a couple of weeks. And it was funny. For a couple of weeks, he gave my son hitting lessons when Coach Mack was out, because Coach Mack got COVID. And it was funny. He was doing a drill with my son to help him hit the outside pitch a little bit better. So Coach Gedman goes to my son, you do the same thing that Xander Bogaerts does. And Xander Bogaerts is one of the young stars of the Red Sox. And I use this drill with Bogaerts to help him with his hitting to the opposite field. So my son was just, holy shit. He works on this drill with Xander Bogaerts, and he does with me also. So it was really cool. So he and my youngest son, Brandon, both play baseball. They both play for a travel baseball team in Worcester, Massachusetts, called the Strike Zone. And they play a lot of baseball, but they both love it. And it's really fun to watch them play. So we try to, my wife and I sometimes get overwhelmed by all the games they have, but we try to soak in, all the games and enjoy it as much as we can. And, the one thing I've always done as a father, and I made this promise to myself, because I think, my dad was one of those guys that he wanted to make the major leagues. It never happened. And he tried to make me make it for him. And, I've always encouraged the love of sports for my kids, but I've always told them point blank, if you really love baseball, if you really want to play, in high school, maybe in college, and maybe beyond, it has to be you. It can't be me forcing you. It has to be something that you love to do. And if you truly love it, then we will support you every step of the way and try to help you become, the best baseball player you can be, if that's what you want to do. But if that turns out you want to be an actor, if you want to play the piano, if you want to be an artist, whatever it may be, we'll try to support you, but just can't, we can't force you. We can't make it happen for you. So I think that they truly love it themselves. And, I always tell them, anytime you want to pull the plug and you don't want to do this, it's okay with me. You can find out what you like, but they really do seem to like it. It's fun to watch them play. So we got Cummings back. So, hey, did you lose me, Chuck? I saw that you lost me. So if you couldn't hear my beautiful voice, I'm sorry that happened. And I got to say, Cummings was talking about how I have this great radio voice the other day. Cummings, I think the same thing about you. I think you've got a phenomenal voice, one of the best voices on Podbean, and definitely the best laugh on Podbean, without a doubt. There, you got to bring him, man. You got to get that laugh, man. So tell us more about the Alabama quarterback. Have you heard anything in Alabama? Are they talking about him wanting to come to New England?
Yes, dude. It's a match made. It's a match made in heaven, because listen, they had their senior day practices and all this, and a lot of people were doubting the kid because, of course he had Devontae Smith. Of course he had Jerry Jeudy to throw to last year. Of course he had Henry Ruggs and all these great receivers. He had John Mechie. John Mechie's going to be somebody to watch for the Patriots next year too. But this guy goes out in a senior day practice. They put him with the B squad.
Well, like that's just me thinking about the quarterback coming to town, so I'm just getting excited.
Oh,
go
yeah.
ahead, continue.
Oh, God.
Oh yeah, this kid goes out on the field, dude, and just nails every throw with a sprained ankle. And they had said that guy had a better day. Like I don't know, man. Mel Kiper was saying that the Jags may be smart and trade down and get a couple first round picks that Urban Meyer may try to trade down with that number 1 pick and take him.
Sorry, I'm just like super excited hearing that he might actually come to New England. So that's me with my female voice, just kind of getting it out there that I'm excited about him maybe coming to New England. So
Have you ever watched a highlight video of the guy?
I have. He's a talent. I mean, there's no doubt about it. But I'm worried he's not going to be there when the Patriots draft. What's their pick? I think they have like
15.
the 16th pick.
Yeah,
I don't think he's going to make it down that far. Do you?
Yeah, he will, because what's going to happen is if Bill Belichick let Jimmy Garoppolo go, and I think that the Patriots will sit there and they'll be like, okay, this is our guy. I think they're sold on him. I really do. Like, I think they're sold that this is their guy, because let me tell you something, man. This is something that a lot of people don't realize about this guy. This guy, when he first came to the University of Alabama as a freshman, he got arrested for a DUI.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, and he had a lot of attitude problems. And then that was when Lane Kiffin was the offensive coordinator. So they brought Brian Dable in. Brian Dable was the offensive coordinator at Alabama, and then he went to he was on the staff at the Patriots, and then he came to Alabama as offensive coordinator, and then he went to the Bills as offensive coordinator. And so he worked with him. But who could have imagined? Has Alabama, this is my deal, has Alabama turned into QBU? Because in this locker room, at one time, you had Tua Tagovailoa, you had Jalen Hurts, and you got Mac Jones. You had them all in the same quarterback room. That's insane.
Now, hold on one sec. I see Glenn saying, why is John masturbating? Well, you know why, Glenn. I have that picture of you that you sent me. And, every time I look at that, it kind of gets me going. So I appreciate the fact you sent me that. And, generally my rule is no dick pics, but, yours was something special. And I do appreciate the fact that you sent that on to me. So thank you very much, Glenn. And that is a staple in my, highlight reel, is thinking of Glenn. And, I didn't really like the bikini shorts that you had on. I mean, I'm not really into like the whole grape snuggler type of bathing suit. But, when you sent me the picture showing everything, that kind of got me going. So that's definitely in my mental bank of things that I remember. So thank you very much. I see Chuck mentioning, I'll send you a picture of the team I'm still on. Now that kind of scares me. I'm not sure what type of team you're talking about, but if you're talking about a football team, that's cool. If you're talking about your sexual team, you can tell me if you want. I mean, I don't know if I necessarily need to know that, because I love you whether you're gay, straight, whatever. It doesn't matter to me, but whatever. So Glenn's asking, did I appreciate the lipstick? It wasn't my color. It wasn't the color I generally like. But I did like the lipstick. I mean, because again, the way you puck it up, you kind of made that duck face thing that a lot of the young girls do now, and I did appreciate that. So thanks for sending that on. And you did the best you could. And Glenn, I mean, for me, I think you're a handsome man, but honestly, I think it's more about your personality. You've got that personality. You're honest, and I do appreciate that about you. So it's always good. I know, Chris. Sorry, we're going down the rabbit hole, man. Oh man. All right. So back to football. We're talking about Mac Jones and Alabama, but I would love to see him on the Patriots. But what I'm worried about is I think Belichick has it in the back of his mind that he wants to go back out and get Garoppolo back, because that was originally his guy. Like, if you remember back, like maybe, I don't know, 7 years ago or so, Belichick wanted to get rid of Brady back then, and he wanted Garoppolo to be his guy, and Robert Kraft overruled him. So now the 49ers are saying that Garoppolo's back on the block and he's available. And, I'd rather see the Patriots go out and draft Mac Jones if they can, and maybe get like a Stafford to fill that gap for a couple of years until Jones is ready to take over the helm of the Patriots. Because I mean, let's face it, right now also, the Patriots don't have any viable weapons on offense. I mean, their receiving core sucks. They don't have much of a running game. They've got some work they got to do to build this team back up. But man, I hope that happens. He's a talented.
You may not need to. Like, that's the thing, though. It's like the thing with Mahomes. Like, the thing now in the NFL, I don't think it is that you set these guys 2 to 3 years and let them learn. I think that shit's over with. I think you adapt to what you have. I mean, look at, like, I know you don't watch college football, John, but my God, man, if somebody would have told me 10 years ago that the Alabama offense, that Nick Saban would be running the fucking spread and the RPO, and Alabama would be the number one offense in college football, I would have laughed at you and told you were crazy, because, I mean, they were big, physical, power run game, play action pass. That was their offense. And now they're spreading the ball out all over the field. They're throwing the ball here, there, everywhere. Bill O'Brien's now is the offensive coordinator for Alabama. So, I mean, it's crazy how, like, I think they'll adapt. I think the NFL is going to change to fit the talent that they have, because there's going to be receivers in the second and third round are better receivers than what the Patriots have now.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they're going to have to go that route. And I laughed a little bit, not what you were saying, but Chuck mentioned that he sent me a picture. I just checked my messages. He did send me a picture. And if I was on Twitter, I'd post it, but I can't because Twitter fucking banned me again. But it's a picture of him on his baseball team, and it's true. Chuck has got the full-grown Harley biker beard in his baseball team photo. That's an outstanding photo, dude. I'm glad you sent me. When I get the chance, I'll post that so people could see it. But that's a great picture of you and your baseball team. But yeah, you could be right, man. Matt Stafford, he could be going to the Broncos. The Broncos, man, they're definitely in a stage where they have to rebuild. And I don't know, I don't think Matt Stafford's going to be the really answer for anybody. I mean, he's a good quarterback, but he's 33 years old, and to me, he's kind of like a good gap filler for maybe a few years. I mean, he's a good quarterback, but I wouldn't put him in my top 5 in the NFL. I mean, I don't even know if Stafford would make my top 10. There was a debate yesterday. I was on the Mr. T sports show for a while, just listening in, and he was talking about his top 5 quarterbacks. I guess if you had to say, Jeremy, who would be your top 5 right now in the NFL?
Right now in the NFL?
Yeah. Who would be a top quarterback? I mean, I say I would probably put Mahomes as number 1 just because Brady's old. I'm talking about talent for today, not what you've done in the past,
That's where we differ.
You think Brady would be number 1?
Yeah, because experience matters, and Brady, he's big game Tom for a reason. So I think Brady's 1 until if Mahomes beats him in the Super Bowl, then you got to put Mahomes at 1. But I think that Brady's number 1 until somebody knocks him off and says, "Okay, you're not number 1 anymore." 2, I guess, yeah, you put Mahomes there. 3, God, man, that's really a toss-up because, I mean, you
guys got like Drew Brees. You got guys like Josh Allen. Lamar Jackson is a guy where he's a talented quarterback, but I'll tell you, I didn't watch him a lot until this year because there was nothing else to do, so I watched a lot of football. But, I mean, honestly, Lamar Jackson reminds me of a younger version of Cam Newton. And, when the Patriots got Cam Newton, I was psyched. I was like, all right, if anybody can turn Cam Newton around, it's Belichick. The guy's going to come in. He's going to be a quarterback we're going to have for like 8 to 10 years. And Cam Newton is an amazing athlete. He can run the football. He's a big, strong guy. I've made this comment a few times. People think I'm crazy. I would love to see Cam Newton give up the position of quarterback, become a tight end, because he can catch the ball. He's 6'5", 240 pounds. He's fast. He can't play quarterback anymore because he can't throw the football. I watched him all year until that last game. He had thrown 5 touchdown passes all year. Now, I look at Lamar Jackson, and he's a younger, maybe a little bit more talented version of Cam Newton, but he is a runner, and he doesn't throw the football all that well either. I think if you see him slow down as a quarterback, I think eventually he's going to be similar to Cam Newton, where a guy that, for a guy that doesn't really throw the ball all that well, and, once he loses his ability to run, he's not going to be like a premier quarterback in the NFL. So I don't know if I'd have Lamar Jackson in my top 5, but I think I'd have Mahomes, Brady, Breeze, Josh Allen. Who would be my 5th? I mean, Dak Prescott, maybe. I don't know. No,
that fucker can't throw a ball. The only thing he can fucking throw to is the right side of the field, and I'm a Cowboys fan.
Right. I don't like him. I mean, I they were talking about Dak Prescott yesterday, and I kind of disagreed with him. I don't think he is a great quarterback. I mean, I don't know who would be number 5 on that list. Who do you think would be on that list? I don't know if I can. Anybody else in the chat, if you guys have any ideas who you like as a quarterback, I definitely wouldn't put Stafford in my top 5. I mean, Tua, I don't think he deserves to be in the top 5. Garoppolo, he doesn't deserve to be there.
You have to put Hurts there before you put fucking Tua.
Yeah, I would say so too. I see DeGray mentioned Foles. I don't know, Nick Foles is a decent quarterback, but I don't know if I'd have him in my top 5. I mean, it just shows, there really is kind of a gap right now. I mean, how about Big Ben Roethlisberger? Does he belong up there? I mean, he's at the end of his career. He had a pretty good season, but I don't know.
Yeah, I guess
we're forgetting somebody. What the hell's his name? I'm thinking, Aaron Rodgers probably. I mean, you got to put him on the top 5, I would say. Aaron Rodgers is going to be a guy that would probably make my list.
I think Aaron Rodgers is going to get traded.
You think so? Where do you think he's going to end up?
I think Aaron Rodgers is probably about to go to you could get a shock trade here. I think Aaron Rodgers might wind up in Los Angeles, but I think he probably will wind up in Los Angeles, but to the Chargers. But they still should fucking be in San Diego. But
I agree with that. That was fucking stupid. They moved. I agree completely.
Yeah, that was stupid as shit I've ever seen. But now, if you want to talk about a team who's going to build, you could take the Jacksonville Jaguars, and they could say, you know what, you give us Aaron Rodgers and your number 1 pick, and they take Aaron Rodgers. So, I mean, that I think Aaron Rodgers is going to be on the move. I just do not see the Green Bay keeping him.
Yeah, I see Chuck's comment up above. He mentioned his top 5, and that's a pretty solid 5, I think. He's getting Mahomes, Rodgers, Brady, Allen, and Breeze. I think the difference I would make, I would have Mahomes probably at number 1, based just on where he is today. I agree completely with what you said when it comes to experience, but Mahomes is a young guy who's been in the NFC Championship 3 times. He's won a Super Bowl, so he's already developing that aura as a guy that can play in big games. I think I would have Mahomes, Brady, Rodgers, then probably at that point, Breeze, then Allen would be my succession of the top 5. What are you going to say, Jeremy, before I rudely cut you off?
My thing with Mahomes, and a lot of people don't even talk about this, but you take Mahomes, you put him on any team. Can he win at any team, or can he just win? Can he make everybody around him better, or does his coaches and his scheme make him better?
Well, see, now there's truth to that, because Brady to me, and again, for the younger guys in here, I know, Jeremy, you're a younger guy. For the people out there, now this is kind of switching gears. This is my ADD a little bit, but it's going to come back to the point. Brady, to me, is a lot like Larry Bird. Yep. Tom Brady, for a long time, has not gotten the respect that he deserved because people did not give him that respect. But Tom Brady is the type of guy that makes everybody around him better. And if you did not watch Larry Bird play back in the day, Larry Bird was a guy that he had the same aura as Tom Brady. And he was a winner. He made everybody on the court a better player. Larry Bird could have come out and scored 40 points a game if he wanted to. Larry Bird could have jacked up 33-pointers every night and probably shot 40%, 45%. But he didn't do that. Larry Bird was a guy that would maybe throw up, 17, 18 shots in the game, make 11 of them. He'd go to the line. He'd be 11 for 11 at the free throw line. He'd pull down 14 rebounds. He'd have 9 assists. He'd have 4 steals. He'd have 3 block shots. Larry Bird did everything well, and he made everybody on the floor better. And when you look at Larry Bird today and you try to compare him to like a LeBron James, it's not a fair comparison because the game's different. I mean, you didn't have players back in the Larry Bird era throwing up 15 3-pointers in a game. I mean, if Larry Bird was shooting 3-pointers, he'd maybe toss up like 2 or 3 3-pointers because it was only used almost like a 2-point conversion in football when you really needed it. It wasn't like a part of the game to kick the ball out to 3-point land to shoot. It was just different. So for me, Larry Bird, when you look at him, in my opinion, next to a LeBron James, Larry Bird was a better basketball player, and he would make my top 5 all day long. He was not as good as a Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan was the best basketball player I've ever seen play the game. And I think when you look at someone like Tom Brady, it's the same type of thing where Brady has not gotten that respect, and you look at other people that maybe have more physical gifts naturally, then you might give the edge to him. But Brady, I mean, there's no doubt about it. He is the absolute GOAT. He's the greatest quarterback I've seen, and he really brings everything to the game where he has command of the game. He's a general out on the field with his team. He makes everybody better. However, with this Bucs team, he probably right now has the best receiving core he's ever had in his career, with the exception of maybe that one year where he had Randy Moss with the Patriots. I mean, his receiving core is ridiculous right now with Tampa Bay. I mean, they're amazing. It's a great team, you know?
Well, that's why I'm talking to you about Mac Jones, because one of the things that everybody says, like, this kid knows he's not the most athletic kid. That's why I'm telling people. I told everybody about Juju Smith-Schuster. I said, this guy's going to be this guy's the number one receiver in the draft. And everybody said, oh, you're stupid, you're crazy. But I seen the kid play against Bama, and I seen him burn. I seen him burn some of the corners that are shut down corners right now in the NFL that came out of Bama when he was at UFC, and Alabama whooped their ass 56-0. Listen, it wasn't because of Juju Smith-Schuster, because that motherfucker burnt our asses.
Yep.
But that's one of the things that I tell people, like, listen, this kid, Mac Jones, this guy, if you watch him and you listen to what he says, like, and what Nick Saban says about him, and what NFL scouts have said about him, the number one thing they talk about is when the huddle breaks, when he breaks the huddle and he looks at your defense, he already knows where he's going with the football because he already knows where your weakness is.
Right.
So that's unteachable. That's just, you can't teach that.
Now, Chuck, I see his comment about Brady. I'm going to get to that in a second also. But now, Chuck, you said you were at work and you couldn't call in. Now, are you still an exotic dancer in Ecuador? I'm not sure exactly what you're doing as a job. I remember you saying that you were an exotic dancer and you were actually working. I think you've gotten very good at working the pole. Are you still doing that? Or I don't know if that's the case, but I remember that you were saying that you are, very talented when it comes to your dancing skills, and the ladies tend to like the beard and that whole thing. So just kind of update me as to what you're doing for your job. And I don't know if Muhammad's still here, but if he is, he's probably like, what the fuck did I just walk into, talking about Chuck as the exotic dancer, working the pole. But I disagree. Let's see. Nope. Yes, I am wearing my glitter thong while I'm talking to you. Dude, that gets me hot. I'm just saying.
Hey, John, I have a question for you.
Yes.
If Tom Brady wins the Super Bowl, does the Cowboy ride away, or does he come back for another year?
Oh, man. This is one thing where I don't think he's done yet. I think Brady has come out and said that he wants to play till he's 45. He's now 43. In my opinion, if you fast forward ahead 2 years, and he's even won two more Super Bowls, you say, in that period of time, and Tom Brady looks like he does today, plays like he does today, feels like he does today, then I would not be surprised if you saw Tom Brady try to make a run at playing football until he was 50 years old. I think he absolutely loves it. I mean, why else would he still be here? I mean, the guy, between him and his wife, they're almost billionaires. They've got more money than they could possibly ever spend. He could easily right now step into the network and, be probably the best color man on television. He could be a coach. He could be a general manager. I mean, he could do anything he wants. He could be a politician. I mean, he could do anything he wants to do right now, but he still chooses football. And I still think if you watch him play, I still think he has a burning love for the game, kind of like Chuck has a burning feeling, but it's a different type of burning feeling. He has a love for the game, and I could see him continuing to play. Now, question for you now. Now, I asked this question. This is kind of going in a different route. If you had to put money on it and you weren't given a choice, you have to bet yes or no. Do you think Tom Brady is taking performance-enhancing drugs?
No.
You do not think so?
No, I think he's doing a lot of cryotherapy. I like a lot of people and I think he's like when it comes to I think medicine has advanced so much that it's not a thing. Like it's not going to be so shocking within 10 years to see guys playing in their 50s. But I mean, come on, man, Tom Brady taking performance enhancing drugs. I mean, dude's got a dad bod. He
does, but I mean, the only thing I think I can compare it to, I can't gloss by Glenn's comment without mentioning that. So Kamala Harris is the second colored person in office. Now, of course, though, that would be you have to remember Obama, of course, but I think you mean in this administration. So Kamala is colored, or she is African American, but the true colored man was Trump. You're right, as being orange. So that was one thing about Trump. Why the fuck was he orange? I mean, I was a Trump supporter. I like Trump, and honestly, when I look at Biden, he almost looks like he's orange also.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Are they going to call that motherfucker orange too?
Is it a spray tan? I mean, what the fuck is it? Now, Eric, I'm at an hour and 30 minutes. So it looks like I've got 30 minutes left. I don't know if I'm going to get booted off at 2 hours or not because they've reduced my time because I'm not apparently important enough and I don't do enough shows. So fuck you, Podbean. That's kind of how I feel about that. But I'm kind of having a good time. I'm just chilling. You know, I've got nothing else to do today, so I figured I'd probably just chill and talk for a while. So I'm in no rush. If I'm not boring the fuck out of all of you, and some of you are still here, that's all good. So I'm glad to see that. But you're right, dude. We've had back-to-back orange men in president, and I'd like to know. You know, we've got organizations in this country like Black Lives Matter. I mean, whatever happened to hashtag Orange Men Matter? I mean, we've had two of them now back to back. Are they part of the deep state we were talking about earlier? I mean, do they have to be orange? Is that some type of like secret code that you're part of the deep state or something? I don't know what the fuck it is, man.
I'll say this: like we had like that Doomsday podcast come on Slightly's impromptu show last night, and we even had this discussion about how we believe the election. You know that there's just so many things about it not adding up, and the results being fraudulent. And I think there was even one reference to dead lives matter, meaning like dead people voting. And
well,
I was like,
you know what I'm happy about?
What's that?
When Jesus comes back and he raptures us all out of here, and all those Biden supporters come out of the grave, we'll know who every one of them that voted for Biden because they all have their shirts.
It's true.
Oh man. Did their bodies get exhumed all of a sudden and then be reburied and then the grass be so perfect on where they're buried like they never got exhumed?
Did you guys see Chuck's comment? All right, this is from Chuck and Billy down in the chat. Do you think when Trump's wife touches him, her fingers look like she was eating a bag of Cheetos?
Hey, I wonder. I got a question about that. I wonder if instead of in the Trump household, when she was giving him a blowjob, when he said "toss my salad," I wonder if he was saying like "toss my bag of Cheetos" or some shit like that.
Could have been there. Now, you know, honestly, I love Trump. I did love him. I thought he was a good president in a lot of ways. But I mean, would you want to be Melania, man? Would you want to have to get down on your knees and suck that fucking thing? I mean, could you imagine what that thing looks like? I mean, his big orange penis or his small orange penis. I mean, you kind of have to feel bad for his wife a little bit to have to get down there and friggin' deal with that shit, you know? So,
she likes it. She knows what she was getting into. I mean, I don't feel sorry for her.
Well, it's funny. I was listening the other day. This is kind of funny. I was listening to the Howard Stern show. You know, he's not the same as he used to be, but he's still funny. And he was on the air, and this was actually really funny. He was trying to convince his new wife to come down and get on the air with him. He wanted her to tell a story about how Larry King was hitting on her when they went on the Larry King show. And it was kind of funny. Apparently, Larry King got them on to the show, got Howard Stern on the show, and then his wife was along with him. So literally, Larry King had his handlers take Howard Stern to another room to prep him for the show. And when he did that, Larry King, who had 9 wives, went into the other room, closed the door, and sat in there with Stern's wife, basically hitting on her, which was kind of funny. So Stern was telling that whole story, but then he was trying to convince his wife to come down into their basement and get on the air and talk about that story. So he's calling her, he's texting her. She wouldn't come down. So finally, she did come down because she said she looked terrible. So she comes downstairs, and Stern's just like, well, okay, today you're like a 9.9 instead of a 10. And she's like, oh, Howard, stop it. He's like, honey, you have no idea what it's like to truly be an ugly person. I'm an ugly person. And for you, let me ask you some questions. She goes, have you ever gotten a speeding ticket in your life? And she's like, well, no. The times when I've gotten pulled over, the police officers have been really nice and they haven't given me tickets. And so he went down like these 4 or 5 different scenarios where, of course, normal people would get hammered, and she's never been called out for anything. So then he goes, finally, to put the cap on the story, tell everybody the airplane story. And she's like, no, I don't want to talk about the airplane story. He's like, no, honey, you need to tell people about the airplane story. And this will help them all understand what it's like to be a person that's as beautiful as you in life. She's like, all right. So she went on a jet. It was like one of those smaller commuter jets. They had like 50 people on it. Okay. So she gets on the jet. Right away, the pilot comes up and starts talking to her. So halfway, yeah, Chuck, thanks for coming in, man. So halfway through the flight, one of the pilots comes back and gets her in the middle of the flight and says, would you like to come up to the cockpit? So she's like, well, sure, why not? So she goes up to the cockpit and apparently had a conversation with the pilot. The pilot let her sit in his lap as he was flying the plane and let her hold the controls with him while he landed the airplane. I mean, if you think about that, I mean, who else has that happened to in this? So she's beautiful enough where this pilot brought her in and he was like bringing his best game, hoping to get laid or whatever he was hoping to do. And he let this woman sit in his lap while he landed the airplane. You know, I mean, it must be nice to be that attractive, you know?
There's more to that story that Howard didn't tell you.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that probably she had to maybe show her appreciation after that pilot helped her or allowed her to land the plane. So I think probably something happened. She probably left that part out. Now, I don't know if there are any Seinfeld fans in here, but do you remember the Seinfeld episode where it was about yada, yada, yada? That was like a phrase that was popular in the 90s. And Jerry asked Elaine, you know, I do use the phrase yada, yada sometimes, but I've never yada, yada over sex. And Elaine was like, oh, I have. She's like, I went out to dinner with this lawyer. We had some conversation, yada, yada, yada. I never heard from him again. So she said that she has yada, yada over sex before. So you have to wonder if maybe that was one of those cases where she just left that part out of the story for Howard and didn't tell him that she had, you know, fucked the pilot after he had let her land the plane. So I don't know how I feel about that, though. I don't think I want someone else landing the airplane when I've paid money to be on that plane, you know.
I don't either, especially some dumb blonde.
Or you would wonder if the FAA or NTSB, if they were to get wind of that.
Right? I mean, that's just kind of crazy shit.
That would be a scandal.
It is. You know, I've been listening to Sirius Radio quite a bit lately. I have it in my car. And, yeah, you got Howard Stern on there on his station. And then I listen to Hits One a lot because my kids love the younger music. And I've kind of got into it now because I listen to it all the time with them in the car. Now, probably a lot of you know the DJ Spider Harrison that's on Hits One. You know, pretty solid DJ. He does like the top 40 countdown, all that stuff. And, you know, he just gets in and does his little DJ thing where he talks for a couple of minutes, introduces the next song, whatever. But he's actually pretty good. And I do like his style. But if you look at Sirius XM Radio now, I looked up his salary. Now, Spider Harrison's a pretty well-known name. You know, he's on Hits One, probably the biggest station on Sirius XM Radio, or maybe not. And then I looked up, of course, Howard Stern. Now, Howard Stern, I'm sure a lot of you know this, makes $95 million a year. $95 million a year to do what he does. I do it for free. So, you know, good for him that he gets paid that much money. I mean, obviously, he's a hell of a lot better than I am, but still, $95 million a year. Spider Harrison, the guy on Hits One Radio, gets paid $200,000 a year. Now, don't get me wrong, $200,000 a year is a good salary. That's a lot more than I make for doing, you know, podcasts where I make almost nothing. But I mean, do you think if you're Spider Harrison, you're a little bit pissed off when you see that Howard Stern makes $95 million a year and you make $200,000? I mean, you could have paid Howard Stern $94 million a year and given that extra million to Spider Harrison, instead of paying him $200,000 a year. But that's just a crazy difference in salaries between two guys who are both pretty popular, you know, on Sirius XM Radio. So just kind of crazy stuff.
You know what I think the problem is, like, going to be the future, and the problem for us going to be in the future.
What's that?
Like, for us to be able to sustain our shows, we're going to have to get popular within the next year.
Oh, no doubt.
Because I think what's going to happen is I think a lot of these, like Howard Stern and a lot of these people, they're going to take podcasting over.
Oh, they are.
And
it's already happened. It's already happened.
Yeah.
You look at some of the people, again, you know, we all have, you know, decent little podcasts and we have fun with it. But again, you know, it puts things in perspective for me. You know, I've got, I think now 22,000 downloads, which is pretty good, you know, for a small podcast. You know, sometimes depending on the time, I may have up to, you know, 20, 25 people in my live. I think my best ever was like 30. But when you look at a podcast like Bards FM, that I don't even think is considered, you know, a big podcast compared to some of the other ones. When you have over 1,000 people in your live, that, you know, that just put things in perspective for me. I've got 6 in the live right now. So obviously I've bored some people and they decided to leave, but you know what I mean? It's just, there's such a difference between what we do and some of these big time podcasts. And, you know, I do this for fun. I would love for it to turn into something where I could do this and get paid for it. But, you know, that's not the only reason why I do it. But I mean, there is such a huge gap. And I think for me, there are so many podcasts that are out there and a lot of really good podcasters. I mean, it's almost like you have to be struck by lightning in a way. I mean, we're all like, needles in a haystack. There's a lot of people that do what we do, you know, probably some not as good, probably quite a few that are better. And we got to kind of hope that maybe, you know, we get lucky at some point. But I mean, do you think that you have the ability? Do you think at some point that maybe Cummings' culture will go mainstream and you'll be seen everywhere? Or do you look at this as more of a hobby for yourself? Because I don't know what I think about mine.
I think it will go mainstream, but the reason I think it'll go mainstream is not because of just me. Like, I think what I'm doing with like the whole Culture Cast deal, and like I didn't put my name on it and just called it Culture Cast, but the reason I think it will go mainstream is because I think if you band podcasts together that are like really good, listen, John, I got shit for saying this, and I don't really give a damn. But there are some shows on Podbean, whatever platform you go on, about 70% of the shows fucking suck.
Oh, they do. A lot of terrible. I mean, you know what I like to do? A lot of times I like to go into some of the newer podcasts. Like if I see someone down there on the bottom that's got like, 7 people have come into the show, I'll go in and listen. And every now and then you're pleasantly surprised by someone that's really good, that's a good podcaster. And, we should mention, I was only briefly in Chris's podcast and he was playing music, but I'd like to get in and listen to Chris do his podcast a little bit more also, because he's a new guy here podcasting. And I'd like to hear him do well and give him a chance to grow his show. But you're right. I mean, most of them are really bad. And what gets me sometimes is some of the podcasts that have relatively high, I guess, number of people that have come into their podcasts, over 1,000 or whatever it may be. I mean, once you get to that level, then you kind of made it up into, I guess, the next level of the number of people that have been into your lives. But some of them are really bad. Like I've been into a few that are just terrible podcasts.
Yeah.
And I'm surprised they have people that come in to listen at all. I'm sure you've experienced the same thing.
Yeah, like I go into some of those shows and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Get the fuck off this. This is not for you.
It's true.
And it's just like, this is not for you. Like, James, like, hey, I'll be honest with you. This is how you get popular. You invest in yourself.
Yep.
And, if you've got a microphone that it's fucking buzzing and it's sitting there going bzzz, nobody's going to listen to you. I don't care how good your show is. Nobody's going to fucking listen to you.
Well, that's why I hate doing shows. Sometimes I could do shows from my phone. I hate doing shows from my phone. Number one, I'm not as comfortable on my phone. My friggin' AirPods fall out of my ears half the time. And then when I touch them the wrong way, then fucking music starts playing, in my ears. I mute the music. It just pisses me off. But you're right. I mean, for me, I went out, I bought the Rodecaster Pro board. I've got a good Rodecaster microphone, and it made a big difference because it helps the sound quality, I think, quite a bit. Because in the Rodecaster Pro, there are certain settings that you can set that help, like the echo in the background and the different things. It cuts down on background noise. Because let's face it, in my house, 4 kids, 2 dogs, a wife, a cat, chickens living inside my house right now. It gets pretty noisy in here at times, and anything I can do to cut down that noise does help. But you're right, you have to invest, and I'd like to hear more about, because I don't even know if I fully understand when you're talking about this Cummings thing that you're doing. I don't even know how familiar I am with it. So explain to me exactly what you're doing, because I know that you're with VOP Empire, but explain this other thing you're doing, because I don't know if I know exactly what you're doing. Tell us what it's about.
Okay, what I'm doing is, like, I'm taking podcasting, but I'm going to take this shit to a whole different level. I'm going to take this shit, like, this is innovative.
Yep.
But what's going to happen is, like, my goal is to get on YouTube TV, to have a channel on YouTube TV, Hulu Plus, whatever. But what we're going to do is, like, we're going to invest in equipment.
Yeah.
We're going to take people that are good. Like I John, like, you don't have like having a set schedule. Yeah. And like James does have a set schedule. Well, like, we can incorporate, we're going to, like, we've got the whole VOP deal, but we're going to incorporate that. It does not mean that we're leaving anywhere. It doesn't mean we're leaving Podbean. But what we're going to do at first is we're going to stream. We're going to have a website built, and then we're going to stream over on YouTube. We're going to stream on Periscope. We're not going to stream on Twitch, because that's where you fuck yourself. Because if you stream on Twitch and YouTube will bury your video if they find out about it.
See, I don't love Twitch. I mean, Twitch, I've been on it a few times. I don't love it. I don't know what it is. I'm not crazy about it. And what you mentioned about me is, for me, I would love to be able to have a set schedule. The problem with me is, I mean, this is my life, literally. Like, I have a job that I work all day. I'm in sales, and meetings pop up all the time. Like, I could literally have a schedule Monday where I have no meetings, and then by Monday morning I have 3 meetings pop up at all different times.
Yep.
At 8 o'clock in the morning, I got to drop my kids off at school, so I got to bring them up to school. and then I've got meetings during the course of the day. And then in the afternoon, I'm literally with four kids, 3 teenagers. None of them have their license yet because my 18-year-old son doesn't have his license, being that he has autism. My daughter's going to hopefully get hers this spring. I'm driving kids to work. I'm driving kids to weightlifting. I'm driving kids to sports. I mean, I literally am just, every day is like a different schedule. So for me to sit down and say, well, you know, I'd love to have maybe a 3 to 5 show in the afternoon. Well, then I might have a presentation that pops up at 4. I may have to drive my kid to baseball practice at 5. So for me, while I would love to have a set schedule, I just can't. It's almost impossible for me. I've tried. I think the only time I could maybe do would be literally from like, oh, and there goes the alarms in my house. Hopefully my house isn't burning down. Live radio, everybody. And we may be evacuating the house. I don't think so. It's we'll have to see what that is. But anyway, for me, the only time I could probably do it would be from like 6 to 8 in the morning. And then even that's a problem where I have to bring my kids to school at 8. So having a set schedule is tough for me. You know, I don't know. Yeah. I'd love to be able to do it, but I can't carve out the time. So how do you deal with people that can't have those set schedules?
Well, what you do is like, if you've like, okay, let's say that you can't have the set schedule. Well, that's fine. But what you can do is we'll have set schedules for X, Y, and Z because these people can have set schedules.
Right.
But then there's times where, okay, hey, John DeVito's free and John DeVito has something going on and he needs to tell us about it, that something is happening in Massachusetts right now. Right. And he needs to tell us about it. Okay, well, so-and-so's on. Well, okay, go ahead and click, go ahead and send him that Zoom and get him on.
Right.
And or you want to do your show.
I'm an expert in Zooms. I do those all the time.
Oh, I do too.
I probably do 20 Zooms a week, you know, for work. So I'm always on Zoom. So I'm really comfortable with that platform. But you know what I need? Because I even thought about the other day, you know, emailing for VOP. But one of the things I really need help with, I tried to get on and set up myself on, what is it, XSplit or whatever it is. And I'm 53 years old. I need some help setting up the technology. I tried, and I'm just not really confident in setting all that stuff up. So I need some help kind of setting everything up for me so I can kind of move forward and do that. Because I would like to take this to the next level and maybe, you know, even though I'm an ugly fuck, have some video included and all that stuff in there so people can look and, you know, vomit in their mouths while they're watching my show or whatever.
Well, honestly, one of the things like the reason we're wanting to grow is because like CultureCast, the difference is going to be like, you're not like, okay, say you've got your own YouTube channel.
Right.
And then you say, okay, I want to do this. But like what you're talking about right now, like you went into the whole XSplit deal, you just didn't understand. You need somebody to build it for you. Okay. Well, my idea is that I have a buddy and he's going to be like an employee of the damn thing. And he's going to like the shows that people just don't understand. The main goal is to send you a Canon 4K high definition camera. It's simple to set up. And then once you get the bit set up, we can design your show for you where all you have to do is go in there and click go live. That's it. That's all you got to do. Like open it up and click go live. Easy. Yep. So, and then you're streaming across the entire thing. But then that's the thing about the network deal of like, okay, we've got these people that have got set times and these are our shows because we're not taking everybody. You know what I mean? But there's some people that we want to take, but they just can't have set schedules. That's fine. We'll say this is a time and these are times. If you've got time anytime between these times, have at it.
Hey, now listen, I think I'm going to get cut off at 2 hours. I'm at 1 hour and 47 minutes right now. For whatever reason, they shortened my show to 2 hours. I've been getting cut off at 2 hours.
They did that to everybody.
Okay, but now like the new press secretary for Joe Biden, I want to circle back. I want to circle back. Have you heard that term yet? I want to circle back. Earlier in the show, we talked about a little bit about politics, talked about the swamp, draining the swamp. What is the swamp? How people are being punished right now in society. Let's spend the last 10 minutes, if that's what I have left. I'd like to hear your opinions because I was talking about the deep state in this country. I was talking about the swamp. I was talking about, you know, what I think is happening in this country right now. You know, the GameStop, stock trading, everything that's been shut down because of that. Do you think right now our government is just right now in punishment mode, punishing the Trump supporters for their support of that president that tried to break apart the swamp, tried to break apart the deep state. I think that they are literally punishing us and threatening us right now. Do you feel that way also?
I think there's a possibility that Joe Biden is not inside the White House right now.
Now, I've heard that theory. Where do you think he is?
I have no idea, but I really do believe that it's a possibility. And let me tell you why. Because if you go back and you look at any president who has sat in that White House, look at any freaking picture of him being in the White House or being in that Oval. There's no driveway behind the fucking Oval. You can't see the street.
Nothing.
There's not dump trucks out behind there. It's a garden in behind the Oval. I mean, anybody that's been there, there's trees, and they're not going to put a street right behind the fucking Oval Office where some idiot can come by and they're not gonna do that, and that didn't happen overnight.
Did you see the picture of Kamala Harris and Joe Biden walking?
Yeah,
in the last couple of days, and there were flowers on the ground by them outside. DC, man, it's frozen. There are no flowers at this time of year. There are no trees with leaves on them at this time of year. I saw that. You wonder that,
and I could swear, like in a YouTube video or something, I could swear that like there was like an image of Biden sitting in the Oval Office, and then the window curtains were open, and then there was somebody who walked by, and many people are speculating, is that Donald Trump or is it somebody else?
Well, there's talks that, if you go back and you watch this interview when Trump came into like 2 years of him being in the Oval, he's sitting there and he goes, the guy from George Stephanopoulos is interviewing him, and he goes, it's a beautiful view. He goes, oh, it's a beautiful view, but I don't ever see anybody. Nobody ever walks back there. He was like, I'm used to seeing crowds and all that, and he's like, I turn around and sit in that chair for 2 or 3 hours sometimes, and I just never see anything besides freaking birds.
Yep.
And then Joe Biden comes in the office, and now all of a sudden there's people walking in behind the window, and there's cars out there and a dump truck. I don't know what's going on. I really don't.
Or you have to wonder if it's doctored.
It could be, and the thing that I get too is I've never seen a president that's come in. Now, what's the count now? 40 executive orders? Is it more than that?
70, I think now.
70? Are you kidding me? Is it 70 now?
Yeah, I think it's set because he signed 15 yesterday.
Jesus. So this guy has come in, and in the span of less than 2 weeks, he has signed 70 executive orders. Now, they were saying Trump in his 4 years signed like a total of 200. Personally, left, right, whoever it is, I don't agree with executive orders unless it's something of absolute catamount importance. When you're coming in and you're signing 70 executive orders in your first 10 days in office, then to me, that is complete communism. The government is controlling everything. And there is no vote in Congress. This is being dictated by the president. 70 executive orders in the span of 10 days, roughly, give or take?
Oh, yeah.
Fuck, man. That's crazy. That is crazy. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on. And the sad thing about it is, and I played that George Carlin clip earlier in the show, and he was talking about it. The majority of this country, they just don't give a damn. The people that live in this country, kind of like watching the movie The Matrix, they're happy living in this government-controlled matrix that we live in, where, the rich are going to stay rich. We're throwing the crumbs. They're going to control what we can say, what we can think. God forbid if we try to rise up, we're going to be beaten down. And we have to not unify, but we need to conform. And that's what they want. They want us to conform. And right now, man, 70 executive orders in 10 days. That is just scary for me to see.
Or
that.
we could be seeing the 1984 scenario playing out in real life.
Now, explain that scenario. What's that?
Like George Orwell wrote that controversial book called 1984, and I think that book surrounded around like an oppressive, tyrannical government, kind of playing out in like a similar fashion to what we are seeing.
Yeah, I mean, that's completely what we're seeing. And if you look at everything that's happened over the last few years, I mean, I don't understand. I honestly don't understand how people aren't concerned. I don't understand how people aren't angry when you see just the hypocritical decisions that are made in our country day to day. I mean, right now, I don't know if you've seen this, but in the Pacific Northwest, I mean, Antifa right now is even calling for Biden to be thrown out of office. So it's not just they were against Trump. I mean, they want Biden out as well. So this Antifa group is, for whatever reason, being allowed to riot, to loot, to burn down buildings, to take over cities. But when you have a bunch of people waving American flags who were welcomed into the Capitol, they're domestic terrorists. But these people who are burning down cities are being allowed to do so, and no one's talking about it. I don't get it.
But the Antifa rioters, like out in Portland, burning shit down. But they're being called peaceful protesters.
They're peaceful. They're burning
peaceful protesters, my ass.
Right. But you've got so many of the American people that just don't pay attention, or they don't care. Mm-hmm. They don't give a shit. They listen to what they're told. CNN feeds them the narrative. NBC feeds them the narrative, and they believe everything they're told. They don't see it, and they don't care to investigate it. Go ahead, Jeremy, because I think I may only have 6 minutes left. So go ahead, bud.
Hey, you got to watch this movie since you're not going to be doing anything today.
Yeah, what is it?
They Live. Have you ever seen it?
I love that movie. I love that movie.
Holy fuck. It's modern day, man.
It is. Roddy Piper, man, that to me, that movie has the best fight I've ever seen in that movie. Like halfway through, when Roddy Piper fights the other guy, I mean the black guy that's in the movie. I can't think of his name. Oh my God, that fight goes on for like 15 minutes, but it's so true. They're looking at the newspapers that just says, when they put the glasses on,
obey.
Obey. You're right. I mean, it was foreseeing the future, because that's where we are right now. So I see Eric mentioned Plandemic. What's that movie?
That was a movie that came out last year. I think the old man and Deanna Joe, had made a mention of it too, but I know that I think it only came out like last year. Like plandemicmovie.com is where you can find it, because I think if they post it on YouTube, it gets taken down.
Okay.
And of course, I know me and Jeremy would probably agree on what I'm about to say, and I'm sure you would be in agreement along with slightly. The best internet search engine alternative to Google, Bing, and Yahoo, DuckDuckGo.
Is it good? I haven't used that yet, so I'm going to write that down and make a point to do that. But what about this other social media platform? Was it Gab? No, I've been trying to find the app for that, and I can't find it.
You won't find an app
platform. All right.
Yes.
You can still add it to your phone.
You can. Okay.
Yeah, it is a shortcut. You'll have to create a shortcut for it, and it'll put it up.
Oh, yeah, I've done that before. So if I create a shortcut to the website, then you treat it like an app, right? I could do that.
But I guess since we're running a little bit short on time, of course, I would certainly encourage podcast friends listening to this on pre-recording or live to be sure to check out Tall Tales in the Rabbit Hole later this evening with our good buddy Dennis. The Lyrical Laxatives, that's another good show. And then Trice Talk, Sundays, Wednesdays, Fridays, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. And then the Old Man will have his Sunday morning and Sunday afternoon music shows tomorrow. And let's help him get to 100,000 engagement points in his live shows. And
good for him.
Oh yeah. And help grow his follower list to 900. And weekdays, 6 a.m. Eastern, the Ralph Williams Show, 10 a.m. Eastern, Chit Chat with the Old Man, 2 p.m. Eastern, Cummings' Culture, some great podcast shows. In VOP Empire, you've got Brunch with Truly and Wolf's Real Talk Radio. And weeknights, you've got Chuck and Billy's Not Your Cup of Tea, and then the Slightly Serious Show at 9:30 p.m. Eastern. And also be on the lookout for Robert's Mr. Clean Music Show, as well as Chris's VCR 2018 music show. And
I mentioned him as well, so don't forget. Dude, we only got 4 minutes left in the show. Podbean's going to cut me off.
Lyra's Communication Station, that's another good show. And then other good shows that are worthwhile include This WAP Doesn't Lie, as well as Just Another Day in Paradise, and a few other great podcast friends. And also,
go ahead. Sorry.
And then, of course, I know you'll still be around with impromptu shows. Then Frankie D's Crib is on Wednesdays and Fridays at 3 p.m. Eastern. And on VOP Empire, you've got the Conspiracy Couch podcast, and coming soon, VOP will also be picking up our friends from the Free Think Institute. So definitely be on the lookout for that, and coming soon, the VOPUSARadio.com apps. But me and Dan and Slightly will definitely keep you posted on that.
Yeah, and definitely, I'm going to probably do a rock show this afternoon. So if you guys see me pop back up again, I'll probably do a rock show. Probably won't be talking at all, and I might chat.
And you won't take callers for that either.
Yeah, I don't take callers for any of that. But I'm going to probably do another show tomorrow morning. So I'll probably be on sometime tomorrow morning. I'll figure out the time and figure out what time it's going to be. So Jeremy, is that you?
Yeah, that's me, man.
What's going on in your house, man?
I got Hillary Clinton over here. I got her all bent over. Bill can't compete with this shit.
Holy shit! I'll tell you one thing. That's definitely not my house. I can't.
She's doing the Busset challenge over here. Yeah.
Is that Homeboy?
Yeah.
Homeboy, is that you, man?
It's Homeboy as El Gato.
He's getting it done.
But definitely check out his podcast. He's got a great comedy and music podcast.
One of the funniest guys on Podbean. Him, along with Chuck and Billy, man, just funny guys. So I'll be on again.
Well, and there's also a new sports show that I discovered last night. Redwood. I think it's Redwood with red wine. It's like St. Louis Cardinals themed like baseball podcast. But I even told them like to check out the like Beldner Sports Show and the MIT Sports Show if they want to
I was on that
get
show.
some ideas.
MIT Sports Show was pretty.
And
good.
I've got them on Twitter.
Yeah, we Jason, we're just about to end the show. Thanks for coming in. Hopefully you come back another time. But the MIT Sports Show is a good one. And then what's the other one? What's the other? Jason Walker, his sports show. That one's not bad either. I've been in that one a couple of times. But it's all good. So yeah, listen, I'll probably be doing a rock show today. So if you want to listen to some classic rock, tune in, listen. And don't be offended if I don't respond back, because usually I walk around while I'm playing it, listen to it in my house and stuff like that. But I'll come back in and chat here and there. Oh, dude, we talked about sports this whole show, El Gato. You missed it. We were talking about the Super Bowl and all kinds of stuff. So you missed out on our sports talk today.
Well, and we also discussed a little bit of politics.
That's what we're waiting on. We're at 1:59:19, so I want to see if I get cut. If the show ends abruptly, it's because Podbean changed the lives from 3 hours to 2 hours. So we'll see if I get cut off. And
we also talked about Bards being the fraud that he is, and we also had Wolf come in to tell us about him also having a missing relative. So anybody in the Memphis area listening to this on pre-recording,
he's 18-year-old young man with autism is missing. And he's looking for him right now. So, I mean, it's frustrating to hear the police aren't helping him. So, let's see. We get 10 minutes. Now, normally what pops out, 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
What happens is they pop up a warning, say your show's going to end in 2 minutes. We'll see if that happens or if they just cut me. We'll see. And am I still here? I'm still here. Hey, look, no warning. Nothing.
Oh,
have I been boosted back up to 3 hours?
No, Chuck said that they didn't cut him.
Look at that. Usually when they cut me off, they'll post a little thing, like a menu thing pops up on my screen that says you have 2 minutes left and your show will be ended. So it didn't pop up, so maybe they changed it. So I'm going to be done anyway, but I just wanted to see what happens. So that's kind of good. So, hey, everybody, thank you for coming into the show. As always,
if
Eric,
enough people complained that they want their 3 hours back.
I did. I wrote and complained. I was kind of pissed at that they cut it short. Not that I even use the 3 hours that often, but it just pissed me off they cut it short. So, Jeremy, thanks for calling in, man. Eric, thank you as always. And we're going to
love you and God bless you, everybody. And we'll do it all again soon.
All right. And I'm not going to play the moaning noise anymore, just some music. So here we go. Love you all. All right. Check you out later now. Take care.
Oh, John DeVito.
Who is that? I heard that.